say you are what you eat, so I don't eat chicken feet. But I love me some of Grandma's pickled beets. Well, cut it up, put it in the pan, throw it over your shoulder and see where it lands right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Maters, taters, beans and corn, the cows in the barn and the sheep's been shorn, kids in the barnyard chasing Grandpa's chicken. Chicken. Spices, slices, cuts and dices, gonna slash your grocery prices right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Help you grow your garden good with recipes to suit your mood. Try some grub you've never tried before. Smash it with a wooden mallet, gonna educate your palate. Right here in Farmer's Kitchen, in Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. We're gonna cook something good now.
Hello and welcome to our country kitchen. Well, good morning, Miss Nicki.
Hello.
You
How are
look
you?
beautiful as usual.
That is so sweet, thank you. I saw you were cooking.
You know what? Here's the deal. We're getting our little grill going. We got some questions that we have to answer today because a lot of people have been asking. We're going to start right off the bat. This little sportsman grill is something that you can put in the car. Not like that.
All right, you don't want to
That'd
go
be a
in.
problem. But once it cools down, you can put that in the car and take that with you if you camp.
That's right.
Which we had on a couple weeks ago. In fact, we were camping at Douglas Lake.
That's right.
And we stopped by the Lodge store in Sevierville.
It's a nice store.
And I saw this thing sitting there.
You had to have it.
And it just dawned on me, you can do everything on that. Now, we're not going to do everything on that today because we're going to use our 10-inch Lodge pan as well. But we've got all kinds of cool outdoor cooking, barbecuing stuff going on today. This is widely available. Now, we've had some people on our Facebook page. That's the great thing about our Facebook page. We talk to folks, and folks even inform us. We saw it at the Lodge store down there. You can actually order this at any Walmart.
That's nice.
And they will ship them there if they don't sell them themselves.
Right.
And somebody asked about this pan.
That was what I loved.
That indeed too. And they asked if that is Lodge well. Yeah, and this is a wonderful pan that you can do all sorts of things in. And yes, you just really need to take a look. They got so many products that we use constantly. And today would be one of those outdoor cowboy cooking / cast iron cooking, whatever you want to call it. We didn't wear the cowboy hats because
it's kind of warm.
It's going to be almost 90 today.
That's right.
Now, you see a big old hunk of meat sitting right there looking at us. You know what that is?
It's a brisket.
We're going to smoke something today. We haven't smoked anything for a while. You know, sometimes we get caught up in doing the same old thing. And behind the scenes, we're smoking pork for folks all the time when we do large events, and brisket and things like that. But a lot of people think that's a major, heavy-duty, hardcore thing to do. How about today we tell you how to do the perfect brisket every time? Did you know that used to be kind of the junk cut of meat?
I did not.
Let's take a look back at our carving up a beef. People really want to know where their cuts of beef came from.
That's right.
And it's very evident because this is one of our first videos that went over the 1 million mark. And let's see where the brisket is real quick. Now, our Jewish friends discovered this long ago, and I have some actual Jewish friends who cooked this during Passover as a roast.
Really?
Now, the key is here, it's not the most tender cut of meat. So they cook that as a pot roast, but let's also talk about pastrami, corned beef.
Really? That's all from
That's where
there.
that came from. Now, back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, that was a junk cut and people would slow cook it, so on and so forth. Today, it's not so much considered junk. After the barbecue movement that took over the United States several years ago, people started realizing what happened when you slow cooked this over smoke.
So is it hard to find in the store?
It is not hard to find. In most stores, you can talk to your butcher and find out what size brisket they can custom cut you one. There are big ones, there are small ones. I like to do about a 6-pound brisket. I like to maintain, this is for us and the kids when they come over. So we're gonna have plenty for this. You can make sandwiches out of it. You can just slice it and
I'm ready, I'm hungry.
And today we're gonna make our meal around this.
Okay.
So if you will, tell me about your mom's beans. I was up at your house one time and your mom fixed these. Tell us about it, the beans.
She used to, you know how when you do the church dinners, that's always where you get the best recipes. And she's always made this since we were little. So I have to, it's lots of beans in it, a lot of different kind of beans, bacon, hamburger, and it cooks. It can cook all day in a crock pot, or we can do it, I think you're gonna do it over in the lodge we're today, right?
The great thing about this recipe, after talking to Grandma, is she says she buys the canned beans. Now it's an assortment of beans
Right.
with a little bit of hamburger. It's the perfect side to a brisket. We're also gonna do some tasty, yummy coleslaw, and you got a dessert from your
Grandma Solomon's side.
Grandma Solomon's side, which
Right.
is your dad's
Right, the
mother.
Indiana people.
Now, she did a cookbook.
Right. Actually, this was a cookbook from Jean Marie. This was her sister-in-law. And she's the last living relative over there in Indiana, and it's a book, and she's actually pictured on the front. And she's got some recipes
Wow.
in it, so it's kind of a neat old book.
A lot of times, these church ladies, when I remember going to kid, they called it eating on the ground.
Right.
Sometimes, when I went to church, this is the old Baptist,
Right.
you would have one preacher preach, and then when he's done, another preacher would come up, and then when he would come up, another preacher would come up.
All day
and
preaching.
you're talking a long period of time, and by the time you got to the food on the ground, the old ladies brought the food out, you were starving, you just wanted to dive in. And these ladies were the traditional old-fashioned cooks who had recipes
Right.
passed down.
The best dishes.
Oh man, oh man.
The
I
best
remember the desserts, and I remember the meats and the potatoes, and everything was just, I never ever remember having anything bad.
Right. They make the best. And the recipe I'm doing out of is one my grandma used to always make, and she had the word good by it in the cookbook. And she underlined good.
So she marked it up.
She marked it. That's her favorite one, and I remember eating that.
Now, back to the brisket. A lot of people think this is challenging, and we're gonna kind of show you something a little different today that you might not think is normal. Now, I do my own thing on a dry rub. You can do whatever you want. I challenge you to come up with your own, or go to the store and find something that just suits you.
Right.
But really, get online and experiment, because there's so many things you can do. But we've come up with something that suits us, and we really
It's
like
really
it.
good.
We don't force that on anybody, but this is just ours. Now, this is a time-involved endeavor.
Right.
This is not a boom, let's turn our brisket around.
But it's easy, and you just.
But it's easy. Now, here's one thing about smokers. Some are a little different than others. They'll read one temperature and they may be doing something else. I have found that the little master-built smokers, and they make different sizes, they're fairly cheap. I mean, I got that one on sale at one of the sporting goods stores. It was either Cabela's or Bass Pro. They are absolutely wonderful, but one trick that you really need to remember is have some water in there. Have a pan of water. That retains that moisture in there as that smoke rolls up, and that can help you keep everything moist.
Right.
So Mrs. Farmer, if you will cut this bad boy open, and we'll show you how simple it is. Okay, now we're gonna start fat side down to season that, and then we're gonna flip it over and really season the top with the fats on the top. You always wanna cook it with the fat on the top so that fat caramelizes and runs down through there. Now you wanna have a bark on this, which means a kind of darkening on the outside, and it kind of seals and protects it. So what can you do to seal and protect while it's cooking? I'm gonna show you. Let's start with our dry rub. This has nothing to do with the sealing. This is just all taste. And I would say, go heavy on the dry rub. Now, what I'm gonna do on top of that is that I want this to be my spice. And you can put red pepper flakes too. But I'm gonna load it with pepper. It's a wonder there's any left after Glenn, the pepper
That's
band.
right.
You know how he's
That's our last bucket of
That's
pepper.
our last bucket of pepper. Now that may seem like a lot of seasoning, but again, this is gonna cook a long time. I want those flavors to soak in. Then we're gonna seal it. This may seem odd, but I'm putting that over top. Now some of that's gonna mix up in there, but this is gonna heat up and kind of caramelize, and it's gonna seal that. So I'm gonna come back with a spoon, and you notice I'm putting quite a bit on here.
You are. That's good sweet mustard.
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. It's called Weber's.
It's your favorite, isn't it?
Now you can use whatever kind of mustard you want. Not too long ago we cooked over the fire, and we just did plain, a little bit of seasoning with mustard, and this is absolutely wonderful on pork, chicken. Okay, Mrs. Farmer, let me seal these sides too. Let me get that all around the sides. And then we're gonna go switch it on the other side.
Ready? Flip it.
Yeah, and that pepper, trust me on the pepper, go heavy on the pepper, because that gives you that extra, just a little bit of a bite that really adds a lot.
Looks yummy already. You haven't even cooked
And
it.
if you can imagine what this smells like when the hickory starts rolling in the smoker. And again, I'm going heavy here. Now, if you wanted to, you could let this set for a long period of time and kind of soak things up, or you can just go right to it. Most of the time, we just put it right on. And then I'm gonna tell you the secret of the time and the temperature here in a minute for the perfect brisket every time. Every
Okay.
time. Okay, now don't forget the pepper. See how much pepper I'm putting on there?
I love it.
I'm telling you.
Wish Glenn was here to eat with us.
I'm gonna come back. Oh man, we've almost used this up. We gotta buy some more. We gotta stock up. This, I can't believe I'm showing people my trade secrets here. So again, this may seem odd to be putting that on top of that, but just trust me. I started messing around with my first smoker 30 some years ago. And that's odd because I'm 30 some years old.
That's right. It's time for some more stories.
Okay. But in all seriousness, I've been messing around with this stuff for a long, long time, and you learn through mistakes. Trust me.
And you cook it fat side up, right?
Fat side up, always fat side up. Now look at that.
Now,
here's the one thing I'm gonna do a little bit different. I'm gonna come back with a little more seasoning on top.
Wow.
Because all those flavors, all that fat's gonna caramelize, and the bark. Oh. One other thing, just remember this. Make sure you're room temperature, because it has to cook that much harder and that much longer. If you pull it right out of the freezer, right out of the refrigerator, and it's really cool, make sure you let it get room temperature. Your smoker may be a little different from mine. It's like an oven. You know, sometimes
you just
one
learn
oven.
as you go.
Yeah. 237. That seems specific, but let's shoot for that realm. Now the fun stuff begins. We're going to drop this in the old smoker, which is rolling on the front porch as we speak.
Okay.
Here is, if you don't hear anything else I say for the rest of your life when it comes to barbecue, temperature control. The great thing about these, they are digitally controlled.
Right.
Boom, you set the temperature, you set the time, you walk away. A lot of people confuse our smoker over here with the smoker over here. I want to repeat this because we're getting a lot of folks who are confused.
Right.
That is a cold smoker used to season meats, used for flavoring cheeses, salmon, so on and so forth, low temperatures. This is for higher temperatures for cooking. You could, I suppose, bring the temperature up higher in there, but you might burn it down as well. Cold smoker, hot smoker, two different things.
Okay.
Let's pop this in and set it on 237. Make sure your water dish is in there. Make sure you got some hickory rolling on it if you like pecan, if you like cherry, whatever you like. I like hickory, and I've got plenty available hickory, so I use hickory. All right, your mom has certain go-to things when we visit.
Right.
And this is one of those things that are so good and so tasty, but you almost skip over it because you don't think about it. And then I started thinking, sides for beef brisket, I thought your mom's absolute wonderful mixture of beans.
Yes, they are delicious.
Tell me how to do it, Mrs. Farmer.
All right, she starts with 8 pieces of bacon, lots of bacon. And she says to cut them up in little pieces, kind of like we did our last recipe, so that when they're cooked, we don't have to cut it, it's all ready to go.
All right, so we're gonna take
all that bacon. It's a lot of bacon. You gotta have it.
And we'll probably pour a little bit of this grease off,
right.
and I'll probably just put it on milkshake later.
Okay.
Because I like my bacon grease, you know. Oh, the sizzle.
Yum.
The outdoor sizzle.
That looks good. Hey, how about we go ahead and let's throw this burger in.
All right.
And cook that in some of the bacon grease, because that makes it even more delicious.
And we know where our burger came from.
That's right, the best burger in the world.
We know where our bacon came from. Now you notice we have our 10-inch pan here, which we're going to use. Let me test your memory skills.
Okay. Uh-oh.
This is, we don't have that many people over, just a couple people, so we're going to make, you could make this, you know, times 3, times 4, depending on how many you're cooking for. But do you remember how many charcoal
I do.
briquettes?
14 to 7.
14 on top, 7 on the bottom.
I remember.
Now, if you're eyeballing it, then, you know, you basically mostly cover the top and make sure there's enough in the bottom. And that's what we really do most of the time when we're doing this alone by ourselves. We start a fire, we let the fire burn down, we use the charcoal. But we know there are a lot of people. Every time that we turn around, somebody on Facebook messages and says, hey, for the first time I just tried a dish, here's one we just got last week. Every time we turn around, somebody's trying this. So I want to make sure that we're not passing anybody up. As time goes by, you'll switch from tenderfoot to rugged old cowboy.
That's right.
What's next, Mrs. Farmer?
All right, we can go ahead and mix some stuff in the pot, because once that's done, we're going to take a little grease out and add it to it. And this is simple. This is a can thing. We have got a 28-ounce can of just of baked beans.
Okay.
Now
Now remember, the important thing here, these are already cooked. They're
Right.
tender. It's not like they have to cook. They're not hard beans.
But she used to do this in a crock pot and let it go all day on low too for parties.
Absolutely.
She likes butter beans, which I love.
Oh, yeah, I love
And
butter
we drain those though. You don't want the juice from the butter beans.
That's what I'm
Got rid of the
talking
butter
about.
beans. And we have some kidney beans. We got some dark red and we drain those.
Mhm.
So that's our beans. See how pretty the colors are?
Look at that.
I love it.
That in itself is beautiful.
All right, we're gonna have an onion, but I'm gonna wait and chop mine in a minute because I love my chopper. Gonna wait to do that. But we also need a cup of ketchup.
Okay.
And this, which is about half of this. I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze that in. All right, I have a
Alright.
cup of ketchup. We also have a cup of brown sugar.
All right.
Gotta
And
get the brown sugar.
this again is an old recipe.
Right. All right, liquid smoke she always put in.
And this is the hickory flavor.
Tablespoon.
Okay.
And also she said a tablespoon of vinegar.
Okay.
All right, now before I get the onion, I have to get my fancy onion chopper, which I absolutely
All right.
love. I
'Cause
love
this
this.
is amazing.
It is amazing. I love
Saves
it.
your eyes.
Oh, it does. And I've like 2 pulls and boom, I got the best onions in the world.
It's like starting a mower.
That's right. Watch this. It's amazing.
You're done. That's it.
Isn't that great?
That's beautiful.
Love it.
Your eyes aren't falling out of your head.
There's our onion. That's perfect.
Oh, smell
Does it
that.
smell good already?
Just smell it.
Now, you thought of something to add. This is something Mom hasn't done, but you talked to her about it. She thought it was a great idea.
And it worked out really well. Now that's Grandma's recipe, but somehow or another, a few years ago, we got to mess around putting some peach in some of our barbecue stuff, and it just added
It
something.
does make it so good.
And that'll cook down fairly quickly. I wish you could smell this right now without doing anything. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little salt. And I'm gonna put some pepper.
Gotta have pepper. All
And
right.
that's to taste, however you like
And
that.
all we need now is the bacon and the burger. That's it.
All right, the last ingredient, Ms. Farmer, if you'll take your hot pad. Here, you know, I might be able to get to that.
All right.
If you'll scrape them out.
Yum.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's a meal in itself.
That
isn't it?
is absolutely wonderfully delicious. This is a beautiful thing, I'm not kidding you. Okay, how many on top, how many on the bottom?
14-7.
There you go. All right, I'll be getting that ready to go, and we'll set those over here. All right, we need slaw. We got your beans going, you got your mom's beans going, and we're coming back with a wonderful, easy, old-fashioned dessert. And we're gonna take, oh, I don't know, this is the way you make coleslaw, fresh coleslaw. I like the long, stringy pieces instead of the little teeny pieces. So we're gonna make about, just a couple cups, 3-4 cups worth of coleslaw. Doesn't get any fresher than this.
No, it doesn't.
All right, let's pop that in the bowl, Ms. Farmer, if you will.
All right. Perfect.
Beautiful.
That looks good. You've done
All
that
right.
before.
Yeah, back in the 40s I did that.
All right.
All right, I'll tell you what let's do. Let's take about 1/3 of a cup of mayonnaise.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a dash of vinegar
Okay.
and sour cream, or you can use yogurt if you'd like. A little bit of lemon juice. We're gonna take, because our mustard's already out, we're gonna add, oh, I don't know, tablespoon of mustard. We're gonna do a tablespoon of sugar. Then we're coming in, got a little spices. I love the pickled jalapeno peppers. I absolutely love them. We're gonna add a little zing here. They're not terribly hot. These aren't the hot ones, these are the mild ones. Let's go tablespoon and a half on that.
All right.
Then we're gonna come back with 3/4 of a cup of pineapple.
Yum. I like that.
Now, of course, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Now we'll pop that in the fridge, then come back with our dessert. Let me tell you what, I remember the church ladies having these molds of Jello.
That's right.
A lot of times it seems like it was green. And you would look in the molds of Jello, well, it'd be shaped like a fish
Right.
or a round pan or a lobster, whatever. You'd see little flakes of a lot of times carrots.
Yeah. Vegetables.
You remember
on
all
it.
that?
We can make that. I have a recipe for that. Let's do that. That would be fun.
That was so popular back in the
Yes.
50s, 60s, and 70s.
I don't know if it tastes good though, did it? It just looked pretty.
No, it was pretty good.
Was it pretty good? Okay.
It always freaked me out when I would bite on celery in there. I wasn't a big celery fan back in the day.
Yeah.
But it was unique, and it was everywhere. And if you remember back, you know, you look at any old cookbooks from the 50s, and you'll see some sort of gelatin recipe. Now, you're doing something today, which she outlined as good, correct?
Right, from the cookbook.
Now, this was who again?
This was my grandma Solomon. It's my dad's mom.
All right.
She got this is from Jean Marie's cookbook.
From Indiana.
That's right, Indiana farm people.
And let me tell you what, this is magic.
It's good.
It's like a forgotten thing that I remembered as a kid.
It's so simple.
And it tastes like orange sherbet.
It's simple. Takes
It's simple, but so
3
delicious.
seconds.
All right, let's get this in the fridge.
Alrighty.
And clean this up. We're getting close.
Make some Jello.
All right. We made this yesterday, and I gotta admit,
You had it for breakfast.
I had it for breakfast. Now, earlier we talked about know where your food comes from.
Right.
We're cheating a little bit here, but it's the cumulative effect.
That's right.
We gotta cheat every now and then, and when we cheat, sometimes we cheat bad.
And it's just easy cheating.
I'm talking like Oreos. We won't talk about that though.
Yeah, don't talk about that.
But we tried with our vegetables and our meat as much as we can.
Okay,
So now we're gonna
sweet.
cheat a little bit. We're gonna cheat a lot.
Okay.
Now, the thing that they found over the years is it's not so much the animal fat or the butters or things like that. It is the sugar. So just this one day,
We're gonna be really bad.
just this one time, and a couple hundred others, every now and then, we're gonna cheat because we need a little sugar.
That's right.
All right, tell us what we're gonna do. This is old fashioned.
This is right from
this is so
book.
good.
And you see right here, she wrote good.
Yeah.
Sunday dinner salad.
I'm telling you, outstanding.
And she would, with roast beef dinner or whatever, you always had to have a little bowl of this. You have to have something sweet on the side.
Exactly. My grandparents, I remember there was always relishes.
Right.
I remember Papa Harlan's house. Always at dinner, there were these dishes of pickled something, and the smells. I'll never forget that.
Well, my grandpa Solomon would take some on his fork and eat his meat with it also. The sweet with his meat. So
yum.
you like that.
All right,
I'm
let's
gonna go
do
right.
this.
This is so simple.
All right.
And I'm gonna go ahead and put this down because I don't even need to look anymore. It is a can of your mandarin oranges,
All right.
drained.
Yeah, I suppose you could go to the effort of doing these fresh if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Or not.
Pineapple,
1 can of pineapple.
and we chopped it up, and that one needs a little bit more chopping.
Needs a
looks
little more
like.
chopping.
That's right.
Not my fingers in here.
Not at all. We are gonna put a whole container of Cool Whip and a whole container of cottage cheese.
That's 16 ounces of cottage cheese.
All right. Orange gelatin.
Orange gelatin.
All right.
There's your
I
gelatin.
may make a mess here, but let's see what I do. And then she let it sit overnight for a few hours.
And your bowl's about,
My bowl might not be big enough.
your cup overrunneth.
Yes.
Oh, this smells so good. Now, if you like orange sherbet ice cream, this is so delicious.
That's what it tasted like to you, didn't it?
It really did.
On the recipe, it said put this in the fridge overnight.
All right, let's put this in the fridge, and then the next time you see us, we're gonna be chowing.
Yum.
All right. Now, I'm telling you what, if that's not the perfect plate,
That's too pretty to eat.
now look
Yum.
at that. That's what you want. And here's what else you want. Look how that
Oh, yum.
is falling apart. Now you want a little bit, I'm gonna let you have the first.
I get the first taste. I don't even need a fork.
Here, I'll tell you what, I'll give you half and I'll take half. Get us some of that bark on there.
Wow. Wow.
So you like that, Miss Martin? Mm-hmm. I think I went to heaven just for a second. Now the beans,
Can't wait to try them. I like the butter bean.
remember butter beans? Everybody had butter beans on Sunday back in the day.
That's like a whole meal with a hamburger in it. Oh, that's good. That's delicious.
And I can taste the peaches. Mm-hmm. That is
Peaches
really,
added.
that is really good.
I think Mama liked the peach.
Thank you, Grandma.
Some coleslaw. Oh, I got a big piece of pineapple. That's good.
Is this not the perfect combo?
That's delicious. The pineapple and it's peppery. That's a really good. It's kind of got a hot, sweet. Oh, I love it. I love your coleslaw. That was good.
Oh, there's only one other thing to try.
Some Jello.
Look at that. Now that's set up. Look how that is.
What do you think? Do I get a bite?
You know what it reminds me of? Creamsicle.
Oh, it does. Like that pop. Oh, that's good.
That is almost like a creamsicle.
I guess this whole bowl's just for us,
Oh,
since we're eating
my.
right out of the bowl. That's delicious.
So if you would like to go visit our recipes, where would you?
Where do I go? I go
do?
to timfarmerscountrykitchen.com.
Have 822 gazillion recipes
Wow.
in there. Also, if you haven't become our Facebook friend, let me tell you how that works. go to our Facebook page, Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen, Facebook. Hit like. Boom. You're in.
there.
That's all you do. We share nice thoughts, we share pleasantries, we share recipes. So, regrettably, that half hour is gone, but the food is not.
I'm ready to eat.
So it's all about
Good times
good friends.
and good eats.
You ready?
I am.
All right, let's go.
To order a cookbook, please call 502-319-0487 or email timfarmerck@gmail.com. Special thanks to CKY, Canoe, Kentucky, Furniture World Superstore, Housewarmings, Lodge Cast Iron, Tater Knob Pottery and Farm,